Hi, everyone. Hoping you're having a wonderful weekend. I have a question for you. Do you ever wonder why people that you believe have privilege, they just don't seem to get it? They don't seem to get it. In fact, they refute that they have privilege. They deny that they have privilege and even get defensive about it. And oftentimes just really seem to have a blind spot when it comes to the issue of privilege. And it doesn't matter whether you're talking about male privilege or what people call race privilege, ethnic privilege, religious privilege, sexual orientation privilege. People just don't seem to get it when someone calls them on having privilege. Well, there's a reason for that. What's going on is that many people don't understand what privilege is. And privilege is not something that people have. And that's the mistake that many people make. They believe that people possess privilege and that they can negotiate the world based upon exercising this privilege. But let me help you to think about privilege in a different way. Privilege is actually not something that someone possesses. It's a special right, it's an advantage or some sort of benefit or entitlement, a concession, some sort of freedom or liberty, a special honor, a pleasure, some sort of exemption in some instances, an immunity from something that people are given. Okay, that's the difference. Privilege is not something that someone possesses. It's something that someone else gives them. They give them an advantage. If you give someone privilege, you give someone a benefit. If you receive privilege, someone gives you an entitlement. You're not really in control of the extent to which someone gives you a privilege. And so therefore you don't actually hold the privilege. This is one of the reasons why people seem to be blind to privilege. It's because you never know exactly at all times when you're going to receive it, because it is contingent upon someone being willing to give it to you. And so oftentimes what people are really upset about is that they actually collude in a systemic process whereby they make sure that other people are privileged. They allow all sorts of things from people in terms of giving them privilege. They accept all sorts of things from people in terms of giving them privilege. They give all sorts of entitlements. And the people who receive those things, they don't reject them. Of course, most people take privilege. Oftentimes, they don't even know that they've received privilege. Sometimes they really think really highly of themselves and think that they earned whatever it is that they received in terms of privilege. So when you think about one person being treated better than another person for no real reason, that is usually an exercise of privilege. Now, the person who's receiving the privilege may not always be clear about it, because our egos can be pretty strong, and many people tend to believe when they have something, they believe that they earned it, that it was through merit, that they somehow deserved it. And so therefore, that's another reason why many people are blind to privilege, because many people want to believe that they somehow earned whatever it is that they have received, that they haven't been given a hand up, that they pull themselves up by their own bootstraps. And so because people have a desire to believe that, they also have a desire to ignore the possibility that they've received privilege. And so one of the best ways to start to look at dealing with unfair privilege, because that's when privilege is a problem, it's when it's unfair. Privilege is unearned just by its definition, but sometimes privilege can be, that exercise of privilege is really unfair in both its application and its outcome. And so if people are really interested in dealing with the issue of privilege and having people being treated unfairly, the first step in the right direction is to check oneself when one is tempted to give unfair privileges to others. With all thy getting, get knowledge. With all thy getting, get wisdom. With all thy getting, get understanding. knowledge is power. Take care and see you soon.